Hello guys, and welcome to a new Warno video today by me, Vulcan. In this one I have for you a 4 versus 4 on Iron Waters, and I'm going to be playing with the 3rd US Armored Division. I'm going to be joined on my team today by none other than Military History Visualized, who is known as Gladius to Metal in game. He's going to be playing with the 5th Panzer Division on my right flank. His F4F gets into trouble early on here, the Su-27S finishing that off with the MiG-31 at the back. But yeah, I played some Steel Division in the past with Military History Visualized. He actually has the VOD on his channel, so I'll make sure to link that in the description. But if you go to the live section of his channel, you can actually find the VOD where we played some Steel Division together. It was good fun, and just in this replay, he's going to be joining me for Warno. He actually jumped on my stream and decided to play a game with the community, which was really cool. So let's have a look at what I'm getting down. Moving up. Early on, I of course have the LRS squads. Now I will point out that this was played before the latest patch, so the LRS squads do not have the marksman, but I will be showing that off at a later date. For now, I just wanted to show off this replay. F4F coming in again, trying to get the Mi-24D off my back, and he is going to stun it, allowing my LRS to get into cover nicely and hide there without being threatened more by the rockets. Unfortunately, this 2 veterancy MiG-31 going to be shooting that out the sky as well. It's not the best of starts for Military History Visualized, but I'm going to be getting my LRS to get a cheeky snipe onto the SBW-70, so I'm happy with that. My recon unit's actually getting quite far up. We're going to be up against the Jove on this left-hand side. He's going to be playing with the 4th Mudschützen, so that's going to be my counterpart today. I also brought in an M1A1HA at the start and an M1A1 Abrams command tank to give this veterancy. I really like this combination. The chaparrals covering my M1A1 with the leader, giving them all extra veterancy, means I have a 3-star M1A1 to help cover these initial forces. Unfortunately, my infantry not quite as numerous because of my investment in armor, and therefore his initial infantry here, the Jove, with his pioneers and so on, and also the SBW-70s providing fire support, is enough to push me out of my initial positions. So I lose one of my LRS, I lose my other unit that managed to get farther up. Now these LRS trying to hold the ground, but the M72 Law already out of ammunition, so I'm bringing up the AH-64 Apache to get some damage in here. OH-58C coming up on my far left flank just to make sure that nothing's sneaking into the forest. I do of course have this LRS squad here as well. The Apache going to be getting its shots on target now. Briefly got the 30 cal on target, oh, sorry, 30 mil on target of the SBW-70, but didn't quite get the kill there. But I am going to be able to get plenty of rockets onto these pioneers and force them out of position. Unfortunately, this LRS is in for a bad time. It is getting very close to shooting down the Mi-24V, but under fire from 3 SBW-70s and the Fallschirm Einsatzgruppe joining them in close quarters. It's getting difficult for me to shoot that down as my cohesion has gone to low. So the Mi-24D not taking as much damage as I would have liked, and as the Mi-24D recovers from its spin, my LRS go down. But the whole time the M1A1 was firing away, and I've just been tanking any shots from HDGMs in the front armor because this thing is a beast. It does have 20 front armor and can tank the Conker's HDGMs pretty well indeed. At the back here, just going to be landing, waiting for my supply trucks to come in and resupply that with some rockets there. The M3A1 Bradley coming up in the meantime, with the mechanized rifles moving into cover just to back myself up. So my investment into this armor early on does make it difficult for me to push through the buildings, since I have inadequate infantry to continue the push here. And meanwhile my opponent has plenty of these 3 vet pioneers and so on that are holding the line. But early on we're going to be getting a +2. Military History Visualized here holding his right flank, able to shoot down this Mi-8 with his AA, very nice. Ford Taurus has set up here. The main reason we have the advantage right now is because this wasn't captured. It's most likely because our opponent here on the left side used a infantry command but didn't unload it in the first sector first. Anyway, the M1A1 going to be engaging early on. This is kind of risky, revealing this early. but cluster wasn't too great in this patch, so I wasn't too worried about that. And we do of course have the upvetted chaparrals behind us, so that helps. Mechanized rifles currently trying to get the dragon on target to kill these SPWs. It can't shoot at the one close though, because this is within 300-meter range, and HGMs do have a minimum range, so that is something to consider. So as soon as I kill the last one there, I'm going to be pulling back into the building behind. Mi-24D with its air-to-air missile is going to hit my scout helicopter and take that out. Meanwhile, my Bradley going to be moving up here to try and take care of this SPW, as it's going to try and continue the engagement onto my LRS squad. So here come the supply vehicles. I brought in 4 of them because they only have 500 supply each. So this is kind of going to be my base of supply for my helicopters throughout the game. But since this Mi-24D is low, it's time for an Eagle. Everybody loves an Eagle. It's coming in. Usually these can't one-pass helicopters. In this case, unfortunately, due to the ridge, unable to get the Vulcan on target, only get the missile on target, and it survives with a minuscule amount of health. So kind of unlucky for me, but the M3A1 able to move through the cover here and take out the SPW-70. I see the Pioneer ahead of me, but not quite moving far enough to find that just yet. Now I'm going to find them, and I'll easily take them out because they don't have any AT weapons. Engineers with the Dragon now coming up to reinforce on that left hand side. Meanwhile, these engineers are going to be moving forwards and revealing the Pioneers and Panzerjäger in cover, so that my 50 cals and my tanks and so on can help get involved there. So now what I've got to do on this left hand side, I've got to slowly but surely break down all of the infantry in the cover here in order to advance. A bit unfortunate for me that I didn't kill this Mi-24D because it come back to bite me, killing my M3A1. Unfortunate stuff. Meanwhile on my right, looks like military history visualized, just chilling on the defense. Ford Taurus bringing up a couple of challengers to help his right flank, and he also has the reinforcements of the Leopard 2A3 and the Leopard 1A5 coming up there to help him out. Anyway, I would like to kill off this Igla because that will open up my Apache to be more useful once again. And you can see that I am developing my infantry here so that I can start to put a bit of pressure onto my opponent's buildings. Because I want to, of course, get out of here. I want to get to the enemy sector because the rest of my team is going to be under a little bit of pressure. Currently, on the right-hand side, Farks here up against Burdened. Burdened, a decent player. Farks as well. So they're having a good fight over there. We managed to take out the Igla eventually, and now going to be setting up my mechanized rifles to push forwards, getting these mechanized rifles to cover my left flank, while these mechanized rifles move forwards with the Engineer Dragon, the LRS able to move forwards as well with their recon. Going to be finding myself some of the Fallschirm Einsatzgruppe. These are the infantry that pretend to be US forces with their M16s and the M249s. Pretty cool. And the Apache waiting for an opportunity, so going to be shifting that over to the right hand side. I'm a big fan of Iron Waters as a map as a whole. I think it's really good for a 4v4. It's often played on 10v10, but since it has like 4 distinct lanes on the map, I think it's really fun in 4v4. And yeah, probably one of my more favourite team game maps in the game actually. Anyway, Einsatzgruppe going to be getting on top of them. M113 unfortunately going down in the meantime. And on the right hand side, M1A1 pushing forwards aggressively. Take out the Igla there. Anytime I'm seeing a I'm taking it out so that my Apache can move forwards and get the rockets on target. Just get rid of those man pads and it's a lot safer. Unfortunately not quite in line of sight here, so I'm going to be having to dodge backwards and forwards. We're going to be coming under a little bit of fire here due to an Igla in the tree line, but the Apache able to spot that and take it out while the 30mm goes to work on the infantry nearby. Another Igla coming out the woodwork on the left side. He is going to be able to get a shot on target. I'm just trying to stay out of range of that. Continue to provide fire support here with the 30mm. But with the second shot landing, it's time to get out of there. I do have a couple of supplies that were put in position to help the chaparrals reload, but I can also use them to quickly repair the Apache. So I'm going to be loading or landing behind that whilst my mechanized rifles and the M1A1 continue their engagements. Also brought up another M3A1 Bradley. These Bradleys are actually a lot better now in the most recent patch than they were in this patch. And the reason for that is because at close range, infantry now has a longer aim time with their rockets. So things like Bradleys, Warriors, any sort of 30mm unit is very, very strong. In this case, Bradley's a 25mm, but it aims very quickly, so it can get the pin onto enemy infantry nice and fast and take advantage of the extra aim time the infantry now have. Unfortunately for me, the BMP ones are going to get the better of my Bradley. Nice wiggly Malyutka coming in there and taking me out, as my TOW2 actually missed the mark. But I'm just trying to trade efficiently at the moment. The trouble is, trading efficiently isn't necessarily fast, and so whilst I am trying to move forwards, get some kills, move back and get my troops set up again for the next push, it does take time. We are currently ahead in flags in points though, so that's okay. And my opponent now pushing me with plenty of these T8 or T55s. Mechanized rifles with the Dragon 2s are going to force him to smoke off. The Dragon on the right hand side here getting shots in at the same time, so the flanking shots are going to be making it hard for him to come out of there. Instead he's going to be moving it to the left. I do have my M1A1 that can engage those T55s, but I've got to be really careful with the M1A1 so that I don't get overwhelmed. And this is a mistake that some people make, where just because you have like a really strong tank like this, it still doesn't mean that you can take on multiple T55s at the same time. But one at a time, absolutely fine. So I'm going to take that kill and I'm going to back off as he brings the other 3 T55s out along with the BMP ones to engage my M1A1HA. It would be really silly of me to continue that engagement against all those tanks plus the BMPs at the same time. You can see that when the mechanized rifles get caught out here, getting absolutely demolished, unfortunately. Now I'm going to have the MLRS coming in. I've got the M270 engaging. Fired a few rockets. Didn't fire the whole salvo because I changed the position of it to the left-hand side here so that I could do some damage to his armor. Those M270 rockets in this build were pretty strong, much better than your cluster, but also in this patch, like the latest patch, they are even stronger now, so do better than I might. I did briefly see some infantry on the right-hand side, Taurus's helicopters, finding those. My Apache, however, more wanting to deal with these tanks moving through on the left. Now the great thing about the Apache's cannon is it can get through the armor of these tanks. And you can see there already, one tank going down, second one going down. These are BMPs as well. Going to be getting the rockets on target here as the cannon keeps firing. And I'm able to get tons of damage onto his tanks. Infantry there going down very quickly. As soon as these show their side armor as well, they get chewed up so quickly. He's not happy about that. Going to be bringing in the MiG-29. Love the MiG-29, very cool plane. Unfortunately the Apache goes down, but certainly demolishes a lot of that push. And a new M113A2 has arrived, so I can use that to repair the M1A1HA. Now my second Apache, this one with the HDGaming, is going to be moving over to find this infantry over here. And I love watching these fly over and kill them on the move. It's so cool to watch. Remind you of a mission in like COD or something, you know, where you're in control of the helicopter and you're spraying down the enemy infantry on the ground with those 30 cals, or 30 mils, sorry. I keep calling them 30 cals, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky here. The Apache, it's going to be flaring its way out of there. Evasive maneuvers, boys. 2 shots come in from the enemy, but I'm able to get just out of range, just out of line of sight in time to keep that alive. These AH-64 Apaches do have armor, which is why I can survive an engagement such as that. So mechanized rifles here continuing to harass the enemy. I haven't managed to make much more ground as my opponent really did push heavily into this left side. And whilst we have been trading efficiently, it's not going too well for my teammate on the right hand side here. So I'm on a bit of a timer myself, because whilst I could go over to the right hand side to help Farks out, it's probably more efficient for me to utilize the forces that I already have here in order to make a push towards my opposing sector. Whereas if I start to split and I maybe send like tanks over here or infantry over here, it's just going to die because I'm going to be spreading my focus so much across the map. And that's often what I find. Whenever I throw like heavy tanks over to the other side of the map, they always end up just getting killed by HGMs or aircraft while I'm not paying attention. And because things can die very quickly in this game, particularly 2 airstrikes and so on, it's very difficult to see that coming. I've got all of my heavy tanks here. You can see I've now got 4 M1A1HAs on the field, supported by the M1A1 Abrams. I've also got a M2A2 Bradley at the back, just in case this M1A1 gets focused and taken out. Furthermore, it's going to allow me to be aggressive with the M1A1 to capture the enemy sector. Now, unfortunately for me, my chaparral's really inefficient at shooting that MiG-23. It came in from the left-hand side. Very cheeky move here from Dejov. He moved it while it was out of line of sight for me and swung it in the back, and you saw how quickly the M1A1 went down to that ATGM in the back. Now my Eagle looking to shoot down the MiG-23 MF and then engage the MiG-29 in the frontal engagement. Neither getting a missile on target. Now sweeping back round. I managed to get the shot on target. My Eagle gets hit by a missile from the ground, and gonna have to get out of there with the Eagle. Lucky that it was flying off the map here, because if it had flown over the Strela 10M, good chance it would have got shot down. So get away with that one, but at least I took the MiG with me, so that was nice. My mechanized rifles do manage to kill that Strela 10M. I did try and commit to kill that. Unfortunately, these mech rifles, though, getting caught out in the open, getting taken out. And the trouble is, losing this infantry is... it really does, like, slow down my push. Every time I'm losing infantry squads, it's slowing me down. And my opponent, Dejov, was really getting good value in his engagements against my infantry, at least. Whilst my tanks do remain alive and continue to build up, I do need that infantry to screen the armor defensive, because otherwise if I just decide to attack, move towards this sector, I'm just going to get shot in the side by all sorts of AT weaponry. So I've got some engineers to screen my M1A1 on the left. Unfortunately on the right hand side, the OH-58 going to get shot down by the AA that was further up. On the right hand side, Varks is managing to contest this at least, so we are only losing a +1, so that's good. And my supply vehicles coming in here to resupply my chaparrals that did try and shoot down the aircraft previously. But we haven't had to worry too much about aircraft so far, other than that one MiG-21 or MiG-23 coming in and taking out the Abrams. That was unfortunate. So now my Apache creeping up on this left-hand side. I wanted to use it to support an engagement over this forest, just like I had done before. But here, allowing the M113 to go first. And now we see the Panzerjäger. Need to be careful. So let the engineers take care of that, whilst the M1A1 retreats. Now the Panzerjägers will only be doing like 1 damage in the front armor of the M1A1, but the big problem that you have with an engagement in the trees like this is side shots. If I take side shots from 2 Panzerjäger with only 8 side armor, that could be dead very quickly. So got to be very careful. That's why I'm using the engineers here to take it out. But the engineers can't engage the SPW, because whilst they do have the Dragon, it does have a minimum range. But the Apache covering me at the back, taking out the BMP there, which is good. And I've got a couple more engineers now on the way, which are going to be more efficient at taking on this infantry at close range. 2 more engineers now coming in on this side. I was a bit worried that I was going to get flanked through this tree line, because we didn't really have anything further up. And it was at this moment, unfortunately, Ford Taurus did drop from the game. So, unfortunately for Military History Visualized, his right flank is now completely exposed. And that is unfortunate, because Diddy King here is going to be putting on the pressure now that Ford Taurus's AI is going to be suiciding forwards. MiG-29 in the meantime coming in for the strike onto the Apache. Not succeeding in doing so. That's due to the ECM mainly. Very good that they have that ECM these days. I know some people complain that like their Iglas or their ground doesn't really hit like Apaches or Mi-24s sometimes because of ECM, but it does definitely save you against like the cheesy suicide planes like that, because his plane in this particular instance is cheaper than my Apache, so it really shouldn't be able to just one-pass it, and but I do make him pay for that. We also take down the MiG-23, which focused down, unfortunately, one of Administration Visualized tanks on my right flank. And I think from now on I just call him MHV, because it's going to be a lot easier for me. Anyway, engineers now engaging the Panzerjäger. Still trying to make ground here. Unfortunately, M113 falling prey to these RPGs. We've got 80 gems coming in for the M113. Actually, I don't really mind this M113 like baiting so many 80 gems. It's absolutely fine. It's actually being a boss and dodging most of them. So that was good for me. But yeah, these engineers now falling back. I'm going to try and get them back to resupply so that I can put them back to full strength. Meanwhile, Abrams going to be taking out the BMP on the left-hand side. Getting some nice engagements here. Able to pick those off. So I've got a UH-60A supply that I was hoping to land down here, that I could then bring my units back to. I could even potentially use this to resupply my vehicles, because smaller supply vehicles now resupply from bigger supply vehicles, so you can create a proper supply train. If you have a helicopter, for instance, I can move my supply vehicle back to resupply from it, and then drive the vehicle back to the front line rather than having to shift the helicopter back to the front line. You can see the MLRS coming in again here, getting lots of juicy damage in onto my opponent's infantry. Going to be opening up the front line just a little bit. A lot of these engineers and the mechanized rifles getting through their dragons slowly but surely. Now I'm going to have to deal with the T-55s here. Unfortunately, take a side shot from one of these. I was hoping that my front armor was facing, because we can just like frontally tank these, generally speaking. But this one taking a lot of damage there from the initial hits. Now, as the next hit comes in, going to be smoking that off, going for the tree, and allowing my other M1A1 to take up the fight. The M2A2 Bradley at the backside here with its TOW 2 also going to be able to help out. So the T-55 AM2Bs getting slowly but surely torn apart. And the AI still holding for the time being. Farks still contesting the right hand side, so still only a +1, giving me plenty of chance to get in here on the left side and contest Dejov's sector. We are on a little bit of a time limit, because Ford Taurus's AI will slowly but surely die off. But as long as that's the case and he's still there, I can continue to push forwards and try and make ground. You can see that we are really starting to make progress now through these buildings, thanks to the artillery support, thanks to the Bradley support, the tank support, and so on. Semi-24P is a little bit of a problem on the left-hand side. But otherwise, continuing the push forwards. Managed to pop the Pioneer Fjorder, which was nice. That would have been providing veterancy. Not necessarily capping a sector, as you can see, but providing veterancy to his forces. And will allow me to take advantage of any that were reduced because of that. My chaparrals here now zooming up to try and take care of these Mi-24s. That does force his other one to retreat. That one being taken out. So yeah, the M1A1s moving forwards, going to make short work of the 4th Mudschützen here and their T-55s. You can see I'm even bringing up the M1A1 ready to push up this road. The Apache now moving forwards to provide support. It does have some rockets which it can use. So I was hoping to get those on target, and the UH-60 supply trying to sneak forwards enough to get to the M48A Chaparral. Taking plenty of shots and revealing the position of those. So going to be moving the Abrams over, getting the mech rifles over there to take care of that. AH-64 going to be moving back for the time being. So MHV still doing a good job on the right hand side for me, holding my right flank. Very nice for the time being. Meanwhile, I'm just going to continue the push towards the Jove, because now it's really coming to a head where over the course of this game I have been trading very well, and now that's built up enough that I can really take advantage of it. And as soon as I start getting into these buildings further up, that's going to allow me to get my command tank into the enemy sector. So I could potentially move up the M1A1 all the way to the left hand side here if I wanted to. Engineers though under fire from the T-55s, and I am going to have to deal with those. My M1A1HA going to go on a little bit of a journey on this left hand side. I am going to have to be very careful engaging this many at the same time, and well, unfortunately really throw away that Apache. I should have realized where the enemy AA was, but yeah, turns out there was some Iglas in this building. I just thought it was the Strela that got pushed back previously. Chaparral's managing to take out the Mi-24P, on the right at least. So that frees up my Abrams to move forwards once again. Don't have to worry about that HGM. One of the Iglas is going to go down there. There was a second, so the mechanized rifles have their work cut out trying to kill that under fire from 4 T-55s. Now the Modschützen going to be the next target of my units, but there is an HGM coming in here from the BMP-1P, the Malyutka, trying to take out my poor Chaparral. Look at the top of that go flying. Actually looks pretty cool. And my Bradley popping out here does get killed by the T-55, but 2 M1A1HAs versus T-55s. The Jove does not want to take that engagement. I've also got the Thunderbolt flying overhead. We get to see that using its main gun. Brute. Unfortunately, the tail coming off as it gets hit by that AA. It didn't last too long. Wasn't too effective. A little bit of a waste, honestly. The left side AA still causing me problems. I just couldn't find it. With the mechanized rifles going down, yeah, it didn't quite work out. Now Dejov going to be repaying the favour here as he brings in the MiG-23. Because that was stunned, I wasn't able to get the smoke off in time, but at least I'm going to shoot down one of the MiG-23s. The right one coming under fire from the other Chaparrals as I'm moving up, but not quite getting any shots on target. Now unfortunately, Altalia going to be getting the better of MHV on my right flank a little bit, and he is under pressure a little bit from Diddy King, who has joined Alta there to put pressure since the Ford Taurus AI is no longer really putting on much pressure. M1A1s going to be engaged in these poor BMPs, also trying to chip down the Modschützen, and the M1A1 you can see is on its way. So I could have probably moved this one across sooner, but it wasn't necessarily a secure position. So I've just got a second M1A1HA coming up, and I'm able to cover off the left side as those T-55 try and breach the tree line. So 2 Chaparrals here, M3A1 Bradley, M1A1HA, M1A1, ready to now push deep into the enemy. Because again, we're on a time limit, as unfortunately Farks is having a hard time, the AI is not really doing much, and so a lot of pressure is coming in onto MHV. So engineers going to be able to move up shortly. M1A1 still cleaning up plenty of these vehicles. And the Bradley moving forwards here, finding shots on target. Slowly but surely we're getting into position. He's going to move up the Modschützen, try and get an RPG on target, and he continuously brings in this infantry that slows me down. We're getting ever closer to contesting. It's just, will I be quick enough to do it? Will I beat my opponents? Unfortunately, Burdened completely secures this sector. So all I can really do at this point in the game is pretty much counteract that +2 by taking my opponent's sector. And then I'm going to have to go even deeper, maybe to Alpha, if I'm going to want to win this game. You can see now I'm really pushing deep with the M1A1. Like at this point, there's barely anything ahead of me. I'm able to get the contest. And I just need to find the enemy command now in order to make it back to 0-0 on the tick. So 3 Bradleys coming in. Mudchison on the left side being cleaned out. Have to be a little bit careful here with the M1A1 as he does jump the Mudchison forwards. It's like the Abrams is like retreat. Having its side panel there blown off. Pretty cool. And now the Abrams getting into position. Just rushing forwards to exploit this little salient that we've made on the left hand side. M1A1H8 still under fire from AT, but doesn't matter as long as it's got its front armor facing. Now I've got an engineer flash here to come in and deal with these Mudchison. Going to get that unloaded just in time. And the flash launcher is going to be able to force them out of position. M1A1H8 does go down. I said about not showing side armor, and well, guess I ate my own words there. But just going to be pushing really, really hard. This sector was now taken by Alta, so does definitely make me speed up here and just get the attack move going. You can see I'm as deep as his artillery now. The Rapira going to take an HGM to the face, and that's the BRDM. So we managed to kill that off. Didn't have that hidden well enough. I'm able to counteract at least one of our captured sectors. But I'm just going to be continuing the push forwards. And you can see that I'm even going to be attack or quick hunting my Abrams towards the back sector here to see if I can grab that. Because if I can actually capture this, it will give us a +2 advantage if I control it and the enemy does not. So that's the next play that I'm going to be trying to make here, as my infantry tries to exploit the Jove's defense. But unfortunately for me, there's more arriving. Lots more arriving. Plenty of T-55s. He's getting infantry into position in these buildings. I'm going to back off with my M1A1 Abrams, my leader. I'm going to smoke it off as his tanks come through the town there. The M1A1HAs further back should be able to cover for the time being. They do have the 3 vet thanks to that nearby leader. Now all that Jove really needs to do here is just hide with the units and make it difficult for me to push through. I can somewhat face tank a T-55 at close range. And you can see that my M1A1s with their 21 penetration more than capable of one-shotting those. But it was at this moment that Alta's going to come in on my right flank and start to cause me issues. So the engineers trying to hold the line, not quite in a building though, a little bit unfortunate for me. Bradley is going to do its best here with its TOW 2, manages to find 2 kills, but then gets taken out itself. A little bit of a problem for sure. M1A1's going to turn and engage that. Also got the Bradley here, going to help engage the T-62s. Taken out by the last 2 there, as I take out 1. And yeah, this is bad. This is really bad for me. Because I'm in a position where I've moved up all my chaparrals, and I've not really got much to cover my flanks. All of the Bradleys that I moved up and a lot of the infantry that was on the far side of the sector has now died. So I've really got to try and turn and face this flanking attempt. It's honestly like the kind of same thing that happened here to MHV, because with the AI just kind of chilling, Diddy King came on MHV's right flank and kind of put the pressure on here so Alta could just push in from the top. And now I'm pushing deep, but I'm now getting flanked from Alta, so not ideal. But I've got some engineers here sweeping through to try and clean out the heavy cover, and I've got an M2A2 coming in to double cap this just in case. So that's going to be sitting there in the corner, providing that cap. UH-60 supply, trying to find somewhere to land that's safe. Meanwhile, still dealing with that flank coming in. An M2A2 coming in to get another command to the front. So the idea of bringing in another M2A2 here was that I would be able to, well, that was the one further back, but I wanted to get it over here so that I could then move my M1A1s forwards more like efficiently, and without having to worry so much about them dying. Nice double kill there for the M2A2 Bradley, as it gets both TOW2s on target of the T62s. The M3A1s on the right hand side going to be covering me here as well. UH-60 does land, unfortunately blown up on the ground. T-55 gets taken out behind, and yeah, this is where the pincer really becomes a problem, because I've got the Alta's T-62s potentially coming in on my right flank, whilst the T-55's pushing me from the top, and he's going to manage to overwhelm my M1A1 CP. And meanwhile, what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in 2 clusters, and these are actually focusing down the leader that they were using to contest MHV's sector. Now, unfortunately, on the right hand side, Fox has disintegrated, and therefore we lose our base sector, giving them the +4 on the map. But the cross cluster here going to be quite lackluster, unfortunately, even though it hits very nicely. Both of them managed to get out alive, but no kills for me. The top armor being just enough there. Now my Eagle going to come in, try and deal with the Su-25. Does get the first missile on target. Second one does the trick as well. Getting pretty low on missiles. Fortunately for me, MiG-31 right on the tail of the Eagle. Last missile doesn't quite hit the mark. My second Eagle is going to come in here and completely miss most of its missiles. Managed to get very close to shooting that down, but not quite. And now M1A1 came up to reinforce, going to be covering off our right flank. But with a +5 for our opponents, we are on our way to a loss, unfortunately, in this one. Another UH-60 getting caught out on the ground there, but at least it had a chance to resupply my Bradley and the engineers. But yeah, you can see the second command vehicle did get taken out. My Bradley in trouble, is going to get taken out as well. Both the Bradleys now gone down. I'm going to lose control of that sector as well, pushing it to a +6. Abrams trying its best. This BRDM trying to be sneaky, get into my sector here. Not ideal. So yeah, in the end, my overextension got me flanked, and it kind of disintegrated my push here as I was moving up. And the TO-55 going to be able to clean up the fire team. A nice brute on the right hand side with the Thunderbolt there. It does kill off the T-80BK, and this is going to be getting a little run at the end here. Going to be going for the Mi-24P. We're going to be looking for the Mi-8. Maybe one of these tanks. I managed to just slip a Maverick into the side of that T-80UD and shoot down the Mi-8 there at the end. Saved by the bell. 39 minutes, 13 seconds. Unfortunately, a major defeat for our team. But yeah, not ideal that Ford Taurus dropped from the game. Farks unfortunately had a bad time on our right flank. But honestly, Military History Visualized doing a good job holding my right flank for a very long time under the pressure of 2 players. So good job to him. And I'm going to be getting almost 11,000 kills, 10,910 kills to 7,865 losses. I was trading very well on my side, but unfortunately not well enough to take the sectors fast enough. Burden kind of beat me to it on our right flank. So yeah, in the end, M1A1 HA's really doing well. Great support. That Apache obliterating a lot of units on the left-hand side before it got shot down itself. You see even the M1A1 Abrams CP here, my command tank, getting plenty of kills onto infantry, onto all of these BMPs. And the M1A1 HA again, look at that kill list. Absolutely beautiful for Lopez there. The mech rifle's doing okay. When the dragons are at range and they do get the shots on target, it's very nice. The Apache did all right, unfortunately not as well as I would have hoped. Eagles did nicely because they didn't get shot down and they managed to get kills. Another M1A1 HA absolutely farming. Gotta love it. Like, it really came down to these tanks slowly but surely doing damage, and my infantry just wasn't that effective in this game. Mainly because of veterancy, I think. And also none of my infantry was really specialized for close range. I should have maybe brought in the engineers with flash launchers sooner, because you can see that I kind of saved them and late game used them to clear out MHV's forest, when they probably would have been useful in the house-to-house fighting as I was trying to push forwards. Anyway, we're going to leave it there. Look at the TA-10 Thunderbolt at the end. TATBV, TATBK, MI-24, TATUD, MI-8. That was all in one run. Crazy stuff. Anyway, yeah, great stuff. Really, really enjoyed that game. And thanks, Military History Visualized, for joining me. Make sure to go check out his channel, linked in the description below. But that is it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.